Coming up on No Pulp, I'll tell you what conference the national champion is guaranteed to come from.
And I'll tell you why the number 7 team in the country isn't all that good.
Whew, and we'll both play the role of Joe Lenardi and make our very own bubble predictions for Sunday. It's No Pulp, and it starts right now.
What's up, party people?
He has finally silenced the doubters once and for all.
Small schools can jump up and beat these big teams.
That offense is going to be fantastic.
I am ready to go to battle.
Welcome into the CitrusTV studio for this edition of No Pulp. He's Jaron May, I'm Cameron Macaulay, and Jaron, we are 1 week away from the madness returning.
Cam, it's like the little kid waking up on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. You're just ready to go. You want Christmas to be here. This time it
has been so
Sunday.
long. We waited a year. We didn't have March Madness a year ago, but we are going to have it. Selection Sunday coming up, and we've got a packed show, so let's not waste any time. We begin this week in Omaha, where Creighton head coach Greg McDermott is facing backlash from his players after using a term related to slavery and the antebellum South following the team's loss to Xavier, which he addressed over the next few days.
The pain that I caused our players, who looked to me as a mentor and as a leader, the pain that I saw in their eyes was immense, and that's where my disappointment is in myself, is that what I've done to some young people that I love very much.
Well, McDermott was suspended indefinitely on Thursday, and on Saturday in a short pregame video, 5 members of the team explained how they were hurt by McDermott's words. Jaron, where does Creighton go from here, and where does the NCAA go from here?
Well, first, the punishment was too light. He's already been reinstated because the Big East tournament is coming up this week. Basketball should not come into play when you're making these types of decisions. But what the NCAA and the Big East need to do, they need to implement specific training. Now, the Big East has something called Be the Change. It's an advocacy platform. They need specific training for players and for coaches specifically to make sure that this doesn't happen again in the future.
This has been a year of social change across the country and across the world of sports, which is why it's just disappointing to see stuff like this, because it's a reminder that the more things change, the more they can stay the same at times. This isn't the first issue related to this we've had with the NCAA. A couple weeks ago, Jim Boeheim was blasting another team's player, Duke's Jalen Johnson, for protecting his financial future. Of course, Jim Boeheim makes millions. Greg McDermott makes over $1 million this year. His players make nothing, and the numbers are stark. We have the latest numbers from 2019, and those numbers say that nearly 75% of college basketball players, who again make no money, are people of color. Just 19% of them, the coaches who make millions, are people of color. So where Creighton goes, I'm not sure, but there better be a very good reason that McDermott is back, and this sport just has a long way to go.
It sure does. Now, sticking with the Big East, Villanova has had a rough couple days after senior guard Colin Gillespie tore his MCL on Wednesday. Another starting guard, Justin Moore, suffered a, quote, pretty severe sprained ankle on Saturday. The two were second and third on the team in scoring and first and second in assisting. So Cam, does this change Villanova's outlook heading into the late stages of March?
Probably. Yeah. They're probably not contenders anymore. I think everyone's willing to say that. But I'm also willing to say that this team is still very dangerous. They've still got Jeremiah Robinson Earl, who's one of the top 15 players in the Wooden Award watch list. And they're still dangerous. They're still balanced. This is still one of the best offenses in the country because they can do what Villanova has done the last couple of years, which is make threes at a very high rate. I don't expect them to be contenders. I don't expect them to be there in the Final Four, but this team is still very dangerous.
Yeah, they'll still win some games in the Big East tournament. They'll still win some games in the NCAA tournament. I wouldn't be surprised if they got to the Sweet 16. I don't see them going any farther because they lose their two top three-point shooting threats, and they lose their best assist guys against Providence in their only game without both of them. second fewest made threes with only 4, second fewest made assists with 8.
And despite that, they're still 10th in KenPom's rankings. From the Big East to the Big Ten, which is pretty much undisputed as the best best conference in college basketball. And last week, it did not disappoint.
76-53. What a night for Brad Underwood and the Illini.
Tough loss. Really a tough loss and a great win for the Fighting Illini.
And Purdue is going to come away with a win, 73-69. The Boilermakers get the victory.
And this is final home game at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Iowa's seniors end it with a win.
All right, out of those 4 performances we saw, Jaron, which stands out the most to you?
You got to give me Michigan State upsetting Michigan, because Michigan was a solid team. They have legit title contention opportunities this year. But with Michigan State coming in, and the Spartans have now won 6 of their last 8, they've cemented a spot in March Madness. Michigan State, I think, is one of the hottest teams in the country right now. They've really impressed me.
What does John Rothstein say? January, February, Izzo. Never count him out in March. And yeah, Michigan State was by far the most impressive performance because they needed to get wins against big teams. Big Ten provides the opportunity for that. Michigan State took advantage, and now they're probably dancing.
Cam, is this year Big Ten the best Big Ten you've ever seen?
Undisputably. And it might be the best college basketball conference I've seen. Quick piece of trivia, okay? In KenPom's strength of schedule rating, how many of the top 10 teams are from the Big Ten?
Give me like 6. 7.
All 10.
10.
All 10. There are 2 non-Big Ten teams in the entire country that have a harder strength of schedule than the worst Big Ten team in that metric. And that's why I'm here. I am here to pull a Charles Barkley, okay? I'm here to guarantee that a Big Ten team wins the national championship this year. It's far and away the best conference. Iron sharpens iron. I'm here to say right now, team from the Big Ten is winning it all.
See, Cam, you're saying all this like it's a hot take. It's not a hot take. That's a lukewarm take at best.
I mean, that's Charles Barkley.
Come on. I know, I get that, but come on. Like, of course, one of these guys are going to win. It's either them or Gonzaga, right? Maybe Baylor if you want to toss them in there.
Still there as
but
the second
no,
team.
yeah, like it's the Big Ten. They're simply the best. And if you gave me your big stat, let me give you mine. The first time the Big Ten has had 4 teams in the top 10 in the second to last poll since 2013. They're pretty darn good this year and a lot of title contenders.
Ironically, who won that year? Louisville did. But hey, that's the madness of March.
There you go.
That's all we have for headlines. We'll take a quick break here on No Pulp while Jaron prepares to enter the Take Arena to square off with a formidable challenger. It's the Juicer on the other side.
Got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Come on, it's not that hard.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness. I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Welcome back to No Pulp here at the CitrusTV studio, and it is time for the Juicer. Our own Jaron May is going head-to-head with very special guest Ben Schulman to determine whose takes will reign supreme. Now, both of our contestants will have exactly 30 seconds to make their argument, so gentlemen, start your take engines.
They're ready.
I'm ready to go. Let's do it. I can take on Jaron here. I'm not scared.
Is that pun intended, take on Jaron?
Hey, I mean, look, I'll make my performance self-explanatory when we get started.
All right, then, let's begin. And we begin with a conference championship game that doesn't impact the tournament at all. North Alabama, which entered Division I in 2018, played Liberty in the Atlantic Sun Championship Sunday. But because of an NCAA rule that a team cannot make the tournament until its fourth year in D1, their opponents Liberty had already secured the conference's automatic qualifier. Jaron, we begin with you. Should the NCAA change this rule? You have 30 seconds. Go.
Yes. Yes, because why can't a team make the NCAA tournament if they're ready? If they earn it and they win their conference championship, they deserve to be able to play. It makes no sense. If you're ready, you're ready. And the only reason why they have this whole 4-year ruling is to change up the athletic department on the administrative side so that they can get ready for Division I administrative type of thing. So basketball-wise, if they're ready to play, give them the opportunity.
It's a hard disagree. It's a hard disagree, and I know that not a lot of people like the NCAA, but I'm here to argue on behalf of their rules. The administrative side doesn't just stick in the offices. These programs need to go full-fledged into working into becoming a D1 program. Unfortunately, the focus for them in that first 4 years can't be winning. Another big symptom of that is scheduling. During that transition, schools get to schedule non-D1 opponents at a rate that regular D1 schools don't. So, can they really get the proper wins and losses to make a tournament if they don't play enough D1 teams? I don't think so. Keep the rule.
All right, good timing, Ben, but for this one, I think I'm going to have to go with Jaron. So that is a point to Jaron to start things off. Moving on, things in Durham continue to go from bad to worse. Duke was blown out by UNC on Saturday, the third straight loss that has the Blue Devils at 11-11. Ben, barring an ACC tournament win, are Duke's tournament hopes finished?
No, and if you think so, you're just playing yourself. Look, okay. I get it. This isn't a Duke Blue Devils team that matches up to a lot of the Duke teams, but they have one thing that every Duke team has had for my whole lifehood and then some, and it's the best coach in the conference. Mike Krzyzewski's a Hall of Famer. This Duke team has a track record of success at the ACC tournament. That matters. Syracuse, whether good or bad, has a bad track record. We've seen it affect them many years. Duke can still win big games. They've gone streaking wins and losses all year. They're going to go on a win streak, and we'll see what happens.
I'm not going to advocate for Syracuse right now, so I'm not even going to touch that point. However, no, Duke is done. They're done in when you look at their NCAA tournament hopes, because let me just give you these comparable resumes: 2015 Florida, 2013 Baylor, 2008 Georgia Tech. None of those teams made it to the big dance. They're only 500 in both Quad 2 and Quad 3 this season. That's not going to cut it. That should not be a tournament team, and they're only 8-5 at home. Come on. Even if they win against Boston College in the ACC tournament, is that enough?
Jaron, you went over 30 seconds.
I got a little
you went over the 30 seconds.
That's on me.
But you brought out the stats and the numbers, so we will give you a pass, and you will take the second point. But don't worry, this game is not over, because our final point is worth 2. In the Big 12, Baylor is the presumed favorite, but there is a slew of teams in the tier below, including West Virginia. The Mountaineers have largely flown under the radar this season with wins over Texas, Kansas, and Texas Tech. So, Jaron, how far can the Mountaineers go in the tournament?
The Mountaineers are a good team, and they deserve to be where they are. However, they're a Sweet 16 team at best, because when you look at it, you see a lot of great teams at the top. They're going to run into one of those great teams like Cam you talked about in the Big Ten, and they just don't have the talent to stack up with some of them, especially on the defensive side. 72nd in defensive efficiency, according to KenPom. That's not going to stack up. They're not battle-tested and ready to play some of those Big Ten teams.
I'm not completely disagreeing with you, but I am going a step further. I see West Virginia to the Elite 8. Okay. You said it. They're a good team. They deserve a Sweet 16. Well, there's one thing about Press Virginia that gets teams in the tournament every year, and it's that full court press. They surprise teams that are better than them and pull off wins they shouldn't. Getting to the Sweet 16, not a problem. 15-3 this year against teams ranked below the top 16 in the country. Then you come up against Iowa, who Lunardi presumes will be there when they get to that Sweet 16 game. This is a hot take. I think Garza might run out of gas this year.
Oh,
He's
my
great.
goodness.
He's playing crazy minutes, and I think West Virginia can make it past him.
This is a really tough one, but honestly, give me Press Virginia. Give me Ben on this. Let's get some drama going into the final question. All to play for, 2 points on the line. Winner takes all. And we go to the AAC, where Sunday saw one of the craziest buzzer beaters of the season. A shot that brought Houston to 21-3 on the season against Memphis and moved them to 7th in the AP poll. So Ben, how much respect should this Houston team deserve?
All of our respect and more. And I think this is the most confident answer that I've had the entire time. Houston has to play their schedule. And up until that last game, that buzzer beater 3, they hadn't won a game by less than 7 points. The Cougars are blowing out everyone. Their average margin of victory is 20 points. They have good wins, beat Texas Tech early in the year, beat Boise State, and then they did as well as they could have done given the teams that they played. I think Houston fits right in at their ranking and could really make a deep run in the tournament.
Okay. Congrats. They have a great winning percentage against the 105th easiest strength of schedule. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. Their big win, congrats. You beat Our Lady of the Lake. Where is that school, Ben?
I'd be lying if I told you.
Yeah, exactly. They've only played 3 quad 1 games. So sure, they blow out these teams, but these teams that they're going up against are horrible. So yeah, they deserve to be in the tournament. They're a solid team. Are they a top 10 team in the nation? No, not at all.
All right, all this talk about strength of schedule and the #1 team plays in the West Coast Conference. I'm giving the point to Ben. I'm giving the win to Ben. Take that win. Jaron, take that L on the way out. And that concludes this round of the Juicer. And when we come back, Jaron and I will put on our magic hats, take out our crystal balls, and tell you what bubble teams are in and out of the big dance. No Pulp is back in 90.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it?
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got? Or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Welcome back into the CitrusTV studio. No, it's no Joe Lunardi and his twin. It's Jaron and Cam. But we are about to play a little Joe Lunardi game and do our best. I wish we were in his bunker, however. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds fun being in a bunker about college basketball.
Yeah, I would love that. So let's start with our last 4 in, and let's get right into things. All right, so my last 4 in. Let's get to this. St. John's, Drake, Boise State, and Utah State. Starting with the Johnnies, here's the thing. It's either going to be them or Seton Hall, and frankly, I just believe in St. John a little more. They have more momentum, so give me St. John to beat Seton Hall in the Big East quarterfinals, cementing their place in the last 4 in. Next, I have Drake, and it actually really pains me to say that because they don't deserve to be a last four in team. They should just be in. The Bulldogs are 47th in the net, are 22-2 against quad 2 through 4 opponents, and are a covering machine. Moving on to Boise State, the Broncos should have never been on the bubble in the first place. Dropping their last 3 severely hurt their resume, but 1 win in the Mountain West tournament will be enough to go dancing. And finally, let's wrap up my last 4 in with Utah. The Aggies have been impressive all season long, avoiding bad losses for the most part and securing the needed wins. As long as they don't drop a bad one in the Mountain West tourney, they should be in.
And that is where you and I can agree in terms of our last 4 in. I'll show the audience. I have this crystal ball right here, right? Crystal ball, looking ahead to the future. My last 4 in, I also have Utah State. I think they have a great shot at getting to the Mountain West Championship game, and I think that'll be enough to pretty comfortably carry them into the tournament. I've got Syracuse.
Wow.
We wouldn't be impersonating Joe Lunardi if Syracuse wasn't involved in any way, but I tell you what have you done for me lately? They're getting big wins. That was a big win against North Carolina. I think if they win against NC State in the ACC tournament, I think that does enough to get them over the line. I've got St. Louis. They are a team that is ranked very highly, 49th to KenPom, 44th in the net ranking. No, they can't move up, but they also can't move down, and I think some teams might fall out of that. And I also have Drake, like you said. Again, not the chance to move up or down, but they've got a very strong resume, and I think some other teams around them fall off a little bit.
Okay, so those are our last 4 in. Now let's get to our first 4 out. I got Syracuse, St. Louis, Colorado State, and Seton Hall. Now, let's start off with the orange. I just don't understand why anyone would say they deserve a spot. I'm sorry, Cam. They're 1-6 against quad 1 opponents. Even if they beat NC State in the ACC tournament, that's just not enough for me. If they get in, it'll be on brand name alone. After Syracuse, I have St. Louis. This one is a little more of a gut decision. They have been pretty decent resume with 2 quad 1 wins, but a couple bad losses are sprinkled in there, and that's what gets me. Next up, the first 4 out is Colorado State. The Rams are a solid team, top 75 in both offensive and defensive efficiency, but are victims of a weak schedule. Out of the 8 bubble teams I've mentioned, Colorado State has the 2nd weakest schedule. All right, Seton Hall is the final victim of the first 4 out. The Pirates are just 1 game above 500 and have lost their last 4. So there you go. Those are my first 4 out. Cam, what do you got? In that crystal ball.
Just completely discarding Syracuse for a 1-6 record, but most of that happened earlier in the year. They've been riding the wave, getting better, riding the wave throughout March. I'm telling you, just because you think they're not getting in,
let's see your crystal ball.
All right, my first 4 out. I've got Memphis and SMU, pair of AAC teams. I think Memphis, they've got their draw against Houston if they win their first round matchup. Played them close, but I just don't think they're going to get in. SMU has a more favorable draw, and I think SMU actually could make it work. My 3rd team out is Xavier, and my 4th team out is Boise State. You said Boise State has to win a game. I don't think they win that game. They're 0-2 against Nevada on the season. And that concludes my first 4 outs.
All right, well, that is our best Joe Lunardi impressions. Coming up after the break, we look into our crystal balls, not that one, but some different ones, to predict some conference champs and give our final words. Don't go anywhere. No Pulp is back in 60 seconds.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
Closing up shop here on No Pulp. Now, normally this is the point of the show where we get to pick the biggest games of the week, but of course, since it's conference championship weekend, we don't know what the biggest games are yet. So we're going to pivot over and we'll make a switch at predicting the winners of some of the biggest conferences. So let's start in the Big Ten, Jaron. Who comes out on top of that? Absolute pile.
We've talked about it a lot. Listen, give me Illinois. They are the hottest team in that really hot conference right now. They've hit their stride at the right time, winning 11 of their last 12. Michigan has dropped a couple. Iowa kind of scares me. They don't step up in the big games. I also like Iota Donsumu. I think he's fantastic. They have a lot of talent there. Give me Illinois.
You said Iowa doesn't show up in big games. I actually think this is where it starts for Iowa. Luka Garza, probably going to be the National Player of the Year. I just feel like we got a big run coming from him. They're retiring his number 55
Ben doesn't,
jersey.
and you still gave him the point.
You got me on that one, all right? You got me on that one. Regardless, I like Iowa to win the Big Ten tournament. I'm a believer in Luka Garza, and I'm a believer that they rebound from a poor showing against Michigan.
Illinois also top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. All right, let's travel south to predict the Big 12 tournament champ. Cam, who do you got coming out of that one?
I've got Baylor. Like I said, Baylor's pretty much the top tier in the Big 12. We can talk about that second tier all we want. There's a lot of teams in there, but as far as this conference goes, Baylor runs the show, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows it.
Yeah, give me the Bears as well. This is an easy one. I don't think we have to debate too much. They're shooting 43% from three as a team. That's crazy.
That's pretty good.
That's
pretty good.
That's the best mark in the NCAA right now. That is impressive to say the least. Also, they have a lot of individual talent. They've been solid all season, only losing one game to Kansas, and if you lose one game to Kansas, that's okay.
Yeah, it's Kansas, all right? Now, maybe it's not the Kansas that we're used to, but it's still Kansas. And honestly, the way the Big 12 works, if you beat Kansas...
If you lose one game, that's a win of a season.
Exactly. To close things out, it may be a down year for the ACC. Obviously, Duke not in the mix. North Carolina not doing too hot comparatively. Is there an upset special on the cards in this tournament, though?
I like Florida State in this one, and I know that's not a huge upset. I think Virginia is technically the quote-on favorite.
They're the one seed, so we'll give it to them, right?
But Florida State has been hitting their stride at the right time. Scotty Barnes has really impressed me so far this season. The ACC Sixth Man of the Year, also ACC Freshman of the Year. They have a lot of talent. I like them. I'm not super sold on Virginia. I know they have a great defense. They haven't been great down the stretch.
I think, it comes down to those two teams for me. Yeah. I've also got Florida State because Florida State blew out Virginia in that first game they played of the season. So I'm taking them. I really like Leonard Hamilton. They're finding their stride at the right time.
Yep.
All right, that'll close out big games and take us to our final words. And my final word centers around one of the most underrated players in all of college basketball. At the end of Colorado's final home game against Arizona State, the magnificent McKinley Wright walked off the Coors Event Center for the final time and shared a very loving embrace with Coach Tad Boyle. He wasn't supposed to be here. At 6 foot flat, he was deemed too short to make an impact at a major college level, but over his last 4 years has pieced together a remarkable career. Wright is the only Pac-12 player ever with 1,700 points, 600 rebounds, and 600 assists. He should become the first Buff to be named Pac-12 Player of the Year, and few players mean more to their program and city than Wright does to Colorado and Boulder. It was impossible not to watch his embrace and feel a disappointment that there were no fans to send him off. And while it's not quite the end of his career, the start of the next Colorado basketball season should open up in a packed Coors Event Center with Wright given a hero's farewell as his jersey is lifted into the rafters.
All right, there you go, from the Colorado guy himself. My final words today are directed at college basketball referees, and yes, I'm allowed to say this without getting fined. So here we go. Welcome. It's March. It's the best time of the year for basketball, not for you. Over the past couple days, refs have single-handedly ruined two fantastic games. First, they gave James Madison 2 techs in the second half. Then in this Wisconsin versus Iowa game, they ruined it. And if you want to know it, just go watch it. So refs, take a back seat. It's March. Let the players play.
Jaron May complaining about referees. What else is new? That's all the time we have for this edition of No Pulp. For Jaron May, I'm Cameron Macaulay. We'll see you next time on No Pulp.